Hey, y'all, and welcome back to the Celestial Garden Show. I'm your host, Shanice, and this is your weekly transit talk where we break down the astrology for the week ahead so you can move through it with more clarity, alignment, and intention. And this is your weekly astrological forecast for the week starting Monday, June the 15th through Sunday, June the 22nd, 2025. And we are in a transitionary period this week. We are closing out this month's moon cycle, which was Gemini, and it started in May, at the end of May. And we're closing out this week with the final quarter moon in Pisces. So this week is that hush before the storm type of vibe. Of course, this week is not the type of week that the astrology will scream, but it's asking you to get more honest with yourself. And that's something that this astrology, the cosmos, have been asking us since 2020, to be honest. But I'm going to get to that. So, some things that you can ask yourself are, what is holding you down? Like, what's weighing you down? What are you building that's rooted in fear versus trust? And the tarot card that came out for this week's energy was the Four of Pentacles, grounded by the star. Now, the Four of Pentacles is a card about clenching, control, and it's like that survival mode, instinct type of card. You don't want to let things go. It's like holding on to everything because you are afraid, or, you don't know anything different. But the star is grounding the Four of Pentacles, and the star is reminding us that healing is possible if we are willing to be vulnerable. This the tension that you might feel this week, it's between holding on too tightly and allowing hope to rebuild your future. So if you've been gripping onto something out of fear, a story, a relationship, a scarcity mindset, this week's energy is asking you to let go just enough to receive divine support. So the divine support is out there if you are willing to be vulnerable, willing to let go of your guard, let down your guard, and let go of your fear. Um, and with Mars moving into Virgo this Tuesday, and the sun will be shifting into Cancer headed into the weekend, that support looks like practical realignment and emotional truth. I see a lot of people get caught up in spell work, candle work, praying, and trying to take control. That's that Four of Pentacles type of energy, trying to take control, holding on to toxic habits, toxic patterns, toxic cycles, and not really being vulnerable and trusting the divine. So let's head over, or let's get into last week's recap. So we started last week on Monday, June the 9th, and ended Sunday, June the 15th, 2025. And last week we had Jupiter entering Cancer. We had Mercury forming a square with Neptune. We also had Mercury forming a conjunction with Jupiter before it went into Cancer, and before Mercury also went into Cancer. So both Jupiter and Mercury are now in Cancer. We also had the full moon in Sagittarius. And right after that full moon, Mercury in Cancer formed a sextile to Venus in Taurus. And then on Friday, we had the sun in Gemini forming a square to the north node in Pisces. So last week was truth bringing. It was also the energy of getting clear about your emotions and where you can be more vulnerable. Jupiter in Cancer is exalted, and Cancer is actually the energy of emotional intelligence. So it's getting clear, gaining clarity within your emotions. And while Jupiter and Mercury were in an air sign, it was a bit ungrounded, especially with Jupiter in detriment in Gemini. So last week we received a lot of clarity and insight in regards to where we are still holding on to toxic cycles in regards to our emotions, where we are looking at the world through a trauma lens or an unclear, foggy lens. So if you found yourself in the middle of that this week, you are recalibrating and you are getting clear about where you can be more vulnerable and where you can um, start to really embody your emotional intelligence, whatever that looks like for you. But first, you have to get clear on how you are operating in your cycles. This is seeing where you are participating in certain things that don't align with what you say you embody. And we see the collective right now protesting ICE and, trying to protest causes that they feel they are aligned to. But if there was a camera following each person around, I can guarantee you that they are not operating in the actions that they say they uphold, the labels that they say they uphold. And Jupiter in Cancer is asking us to embody what we say we embody, to embody the labels that we claim. A lot of people claim labels that they don't understand. Jupiter in Cancer is going to help you understand those labels. Now, Jupiter and Mercury, they were talking to each other in that conjunction last week before entering Cancer, and they were at a final degree, like an anaretic degree point in Gemini. So this is a critical karmic degree where shit feels like it's either breaking down or breaking through. And when Venus was in Aries, she was moving with a sense of urgency. She was impulsive, and when she moved into Taurus, she got a bit more grounded. So that energy, Mercury conjunct Jupiter in Gemini, could have been amplifying that fake depth in our relationships where people are being performative. And like I said, the actions are not aligning with what they are carrying, what they are claiming, what they say they are embodying. So with Jupiter in Cancer right now, it's like I said, I can't stress this enough. Get clear about your emotions. Get clear about what you say you embody and start embodying that through and through. I'm not saying to be perfect because, of course, the South Node is in Virgo right now, that energy of perfectionism. So it's asking us to get rid of that energy of perfectionism and get authentic to ourselves, to what our hearts are trying to call in. Now, let's get into the weekly overview. Now, this week is a transitional week. Like I said earlier in this episode, there's a lot of spiritual house activations that could be happening in your birth chart. Especially with the summer solstice starting to happen this week, and she has Jupiter and Mercury there in Cancer. So we may get some form of communication in regards to how we can align ourselves to being more emotionally intelligent, align ourselves in nurturing what we want to create. um that's what this summer solstice could bring in for us. It's closing out this moon cycle, and it's starting a new cycle within the Cancer house. So this week you may get a sneak peek of what this Cancer season is bringing in, this next month is bringing in for you. So this isn't a week to move fast. It's more about feeling deeply aligned and moving slow. Mars will be entering Virgo on Tuesday. And for me personally, as a Mars in Virgo native, I know this shift is about correcting course because Virgo just wants things to be perfect. And something that Virgo has to understand is that perfectionism is just not real. But at the same time, it can cultivate a better relationship with perfectionism. So it's getting perfect in alignment with yourself. the North Node right now is in Pisces. The South Node is in Virgo. So I've been talking to a few people actually about isolation. And a lot of people think that isolating yourself is getting alone, which it is, but it's isolating your thoughts, being more mindful. That's that Virgo energy where the South Node is. And how you can be more mindful is just by simply isolating your thoughts. A lot of people get caught up in their hygiene practices. Normally, when you're brushing your teeth, you're trying to hurry up and get to the next thing in the morning or in the evening. Be more mindful. Isolate your thoughts when you are brushing your teeth. Start thinking about your day and what you want it to be. Start praying, talking to your higher power through these different hygiene practices or throughout your day. Just isolating your thoughts can help you get a lot more grounded and clear in your next steps. So this week, with Virgo entering or Mars entering Virgo, this is something that you can start practicing, becoming more mindful and isolated in your thoughts and in your routines. By Friday, the sun enters Cancer. So that's that summer solstice energy. And we begin a new solar cycle rooted in emotional memory, family, nourishment, and security. And the weekend, it closes with Mars in Virgo forming a sextile to Jupiter in Cancer. So this is a gorgeous moment to initiate from clarity and not impulse. But the real heavy energy is Wednesday when Jupiter in Cancer forms a square to Neptune in Aries. This is illusion versus intuition, and this can feel like emotional confusion, psychic overwhelm, or the need to spiritually detox from the bullshit. The astrology plus the tarot card combo is asking us, what am I afraid to release because it makes me feel safe? Even if it keeps me from being stuck, what do I need to release? And why do I feel the need to hold on to this toxic energy because of safety? No, we have to get out of that energy. Something else that I want to talk about before we get into the daily breakdown is psychics. Okay. I see a lot of people, especially after 2020. I remember me and my mom going to Whole Foods one time and they had like some candles to do spell work out at Whole Foods. And my mom looked at me and was like, oh, so people are out here in the open doing it now. And I told her, yeah, girl, people are out in the open practicing their spiritual practices when they should be doing that in private. But a lot of people have taken on this costume of mystic, of high priestess, of being a psychic, being chosen. And I want to clear that up, especially with Jupiter in Cancer. Not everybody is chosen for that path. Everybody is chosen. And this is something that I need people on earth to understand. Every single life on this planet is chosen. Even the plant life is chosen. You just have to figure out what you were chosen to do. And a lot of people are not chosen to be a high priestess. A lot of people are not chosen to be, I don't even know if I'm grammatically saying this right, but a lot of people are not chosen to be the high priestess or the mystic or the guide for others to get through their spiritual journey, to get clarity on their spiritual journey. A lot of people are just simply here to be plumbers, to be doctors, to be lawyers, to fight the system that kept their family down. But a lot of, I guess, I don't know if it's been the pandemic and people having to face themselves and live in isolation and starting to see how they participate in the toxic dynamics of capitalism, that now they want to start claiming labels such as neurodivergence, autism, mystic, high priestess, when in actuality, they just refuse to do the shadow work. A lot of people are refusing to do the shadow work. Let me tell y'all something. To be a high priestess, and I'm specifically talking to women because I can't talk to men. I'm not a man. I'm specifically talking to women. To be a high priestess, you have to be initiated. A lot of you have children out of marriage. You're not a high priestess. I'm sorry to tell you that. I'm sorry to tell you that you are not the mystic that you think you are, especially if you had children out of wedlock. If you are a baby mama, you are not a high priestess right now. Okay. And I'm going to clarify why I say that. To be a high priestess, to be called on the spiritual path is a very lonely path. It's a very isolated path. You don't usually get any help from anyone that you are related to, any help from anyone that come from the community that you come from, because you are usually the outcast. You are usually the black sheep of that community. And a lot of y'all were chosen by men, and y'all chose to give life. So you put down your mystic hood, your high priestess hood when you did that. When you chose to bring life into this world, and you chose to nurture that life, to love that life. You cannot nurture another life that is going through a dark night of the soul while nurturing a life that you brought into this world. To add on insult to injury, when you do that, you are allowing other. I'm trying to find the words to not offend anybody, because a lot of people get offended when you start speaking the truth. But you lose your high priestesshood when you do that. The high priestess is a married woman. She's married to the Hierophant. And they both understand the spiritual realm. They both know that when you are chosen to live in high priesthood as a woman, I'm not speaking for men, as a woman, you are not to have children out of wedlock, to be a high priestess. So if you are getting readings from someone who had a child out of wedlock, or if you are getting spiritual insight from someone who has had children out of wedlock, and I'm talking about paying someone. I'm not talking about your friend. I'm not talking about your family member, because that's a difference. I'm talking about seeking spiritual advice, seeking spiritual truth from someone, and they have children out of wedlock. They are not a high priestess. And a broken clock is right 2 times a day. So I am now attempting to clear this trend of mysticism, of high priesthood, because it's a lot of people out there who are not high priests and are giving spiritual insight, charging people. People are paying them for their insight when their insight is rooted in confusion, uncertainty, trauma, and not higher power, God, Jesus Christ, Oshun, whatever you want to worship. It's not rooted in that. It's rooted in trauma. A lot of people are getting advice from people who are still in a trauma cycle, especially in the mystic world, the high priestess world, the spiritual world. I also see a lot of people who have not gone through their Saturn return. So they have no spiritual authority to speak, to give readings. They are out here charging people for readings, and hasn't even gone through their Saturn return yet. They don't even have the spiritual authority to speak about the things that they're speaking about. They don't have the spiritual authority to teach astrology. They don't have the spiritual authority to read cards. They should only be doing that for themselves, but they are charging people out here on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook. I don't make the rules. I just live here, and I am sharing them. So if you are getting readings from someone who hasn't gone through their Saturn return, you are getting readings from someone who has had children out of wedlock, you are getting readings from a charlatan. Point blank and the period. Now, let's get into the daily breakdown for this week, starting Monday, June the 16th. The moon will be in Aquarius earlier on Monday and move into Pisces. So it's a low key but important day because the moon is now starting to enter that final quarter moon phase. And the moon in Aquarius makes a few aspects early on in the day, especially to Uranus and Mars. So it's forming a square to Uranus in an opposition to Mars. So don't be surprised if the morning starts off kind of chaotic or cranky. But once the moon slips into Pisces in the middle of the day, the tone will shift into a more surrender and spiritual cleanup type of energy. So it's a tense start, but a soft finish on Monday. It's a good day to reflect more than react. So, some things that you can do is take a pause throughout your day and ground your nervous system. Say no to things without any guilt. Don't escalate tension from earlier frustrations that you had in the day. And ask yourself, what old patterns am I ready to dissolve? So that's your energy forecast on Monday. Let's move over to Tuesday, June the 17th. Mars is entering Virgo and the moon will be in Pisces all day long. So the Mars entering Virgo on Tuesday, you can expect to suddenly feel a pull of productivity. You want to get more productive, more structured. Um, and you're cleaning up some emotional mess or literal messes in your house. Mars in Virgo. I have Mars in Virgo. Like I said, I love to clean up. I love washing dishes. I am like a very simple task type of person. And so something that I can, some insight I can offer with this Mars in Virgo transit is to clean up. Clean up. I think of Virgo energy as cleanliness is next to godliness. So clean up. This is a strong ritual and refinement type of energy. So organize and ritualize. Use this energy for clarity and don't spiral into control mode. Mars in Virgo. That's the negative expression of the energy, wanting to control and perfect things. Try not to do that. Some things that you can do is make a to-do list, edit your workflow, and reconnect to some healing practices. I see so many people get caught up in ritualizing their spiritual routines via candle work, via doing some witchy shit they seen on TV or in a movie. Brush your teeth, wash your face, clean up. That's rituals, okay? Stop being so damn performative out here with this hocus pocus American Horror Story coven bullshit. A lot of y'all are ungrounded. Y'all look at TV and y'all become it. No, ma'am. Get back into reality. Because it's getting out of hand is what I'm saying. It's getting way, 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 way out of hand. Leave that to the children, okay? You're an adult. We are the new adults. Don't be hypercritical on Tuesday when Mars enters Virgo. That's some hypercritical energy, Mars in Virgo. Also passive aggressive as well. So ask yourself on Tuesday, how can I bring healing through structure, through reality, through being practical, and get off of social media, TV, and influenced by people who are performing their jobs? How can I get more real in my purpose? It's something that you can ask yourself on Tuesday. Now, Wednesday is the final quarter moon and Jupiter in Cancer squaring Neptune. So this is a very foggy day of the week. It's the final quarter moon phase, and it's all about pivoting and reflecting. But Jupiter square Neptune can cloud our judgment. Today might feel like you're emotionally Wednesday, sorry, I'm reading my notes. Wednesday might feel like you are emotionally full, but mentally confused. Don't force clarity. Take your time on Wednesday. Wednesday is the perfect day to do what I told you to do on Tuesday. Clean up. Control what you can. Get grounded in your reality. What do you see? What do you know to be a fact? and get clear on that on Wednesday. Because you might feel mentally scattered. You might try to, especially people who have heavy Pisces energy or Libra energy or Taurus energy, you might want to revert back to your old ways. That's the energy that I just named, is that delusional fantasy. I just want things to be good type of energy. So you might feel mentally scattered on Wednesday and you just want things to feel good. No, get clear. Get clear about what you see. Stop making yourself out to be a hero in all of your stories. That's something that Pisces, Libra, and Taurus do a lot. Stop making yourself being a hero in every story. Get clear about how you participate in the toxicity around you. A lot of people have Pisces energy way off, way off when they talk about astrology. And every time I talk to somebody about astrology, usually I'm meeting a Pisces, a Libra, a Taurus, or an Aquarius, or a Sagittarius. These are usually the energies that I meet on a day-to-day basis. I don't typically meet a lot of Cancer energy. When I do meet Cancer energy, we usually mirror each other really well, and we don't take things to heart. That's on my part. That's my chart. Now, I don't know how your chart is set up, but I'm just telling y'all the energies that I meet on a day-to-day basis. Sagittarius, Taurus, Libra, Pisces, and Aquarius. Y'all are notorious for spiritual bypassing, for not doing shadow work. Y'all are notorious for staying in toxic patterns, toxic cycles, because this energy, the energy that I just named, Sagittarius, in its negative expression, it thinks it knows everything. That is because on a soul level, Sagittarius does. But you are a human. Your job is to figure out what is truth. You don't know everything. So that's your job, Sagittarius, to figure out the truth and not change the truth. This is pretty much all of our jobs on planet Earth, to find the truth. But when you have Sagittarius energy, your soul knows the truth. However, you're a human, so your ego can get very clouded and you will want to do things your way and you will want to be a know-it-all. That's that Sagittarius energy. No, ma'am, you're a human. Find the truth. Be a student of life. Sagittarius, you are a student of life. You don't know everything as a human. Your soul does, but the human, you don't. Now let's get to Taurus. Taurus is the energy of, it's a fixed energy. It's a fixed sign. It does not like to change. That's what that means. Fixed energy does not like to change. Actually, Taurus and Aquarius both are fixed. But Taurus is the energy of beauty, aesthetic beauty, and making things pretty, working with its hands, and it can feel very hedonistic. Like it wants things to be good all the time, especially if it's fixed. It also believes that it has to work hard to get the finer things. I know that sounds crazy, right? Because it's ruled by the Empress. But no, Taurus is a worker bee, okay? It wants to work on the pretty things. It doesn't work on the ugly things. Sometimes it does. But it's ruled by the Empress. It wants things to be beautiful. This goes for Taurus and Libra. It wants things to be aesthetically beautiful. So think about situations. I can think of a situation right now, relationships, gender wars. There are a lot of women who feel the need to be free-spirited. They feel the need to be sexually liberated. But spiritually, that's wrong. Wrong. I don't care what Meg Thee Stallion is out there doing. I don't care what Sexy Red is out there doing. I don't care what Cardi B is doing. That's wrong. Okay? You are a human. You have to be very careful about the spirits that you allow into your body, the things that you program into your body. So I see a lot of women who want to embody that Meg the Stallion and sexy red and want to go in the gym and wear whatever the fuck they want to wear. That's Taurus. That's Libra. But Taurus energy, the difference between that is Libra is cardinal. So she's initiating that shit. Taurus energy is more of like, oh, I like it. I'm going to keep doing it no matter what. No, ma'am. The Empress, in her higher expression, she knows that she's not for everybody. She knows who to give her energy to because she knows that whatever she's desiring is coming to her. So all she is just a filter for all the bullshit. But a lot of y'all let the bullshit infiltrate your Empress energy. Stop that, please. Please, please, please. So on Wednesday, you might want to be a hoe. In so many words. On Wednesday, you might want to do some hoe shit. Don't. Jupiter is in Cancer right now. Uranus is about to move into Gemini. Doing hoe shit might literally be a death wish for you. Let's move over to, I forgot to mention what you can do on Wednesday if you do feel mentally scattered and want to do some hoe shit. Hoe shit could be simply gossiping. Hoe shit could be simply popping your puss. Hoe shit could be being messy. It's causing confusion. Before you do that, meditate. Pull some cards for yourself. Protect your energy. Don't rush into decision making or overexert yourself. The Empress is just a filter in her higher expression. Taurus and Libra are just filters for the bullshit. The Empress knows that she's not for everybody. Stop letting everybody infiltrate your Empress energy with the bullshit, please. Again, a lot of y'all are not mystics. A lot of y'all are not psychics, especially Pisces energy. Pisces energy is an emotional container. It absorbs emotions. That's all that is. Y'all do not know how to surf the multi-universe unless you have Virgo energy. Unless you have something in your chart grounding your Pisces energy, usually y'all don't. Especially Gen Z. Y'all got Sagittarius squaring y'all Pisces energy. Y'all are not grounded. Stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Thursday, June the 19th, the moon will be void all day. So it's a rest day, a reset day. It's not the time to launch or start anything fresh. It's a good day to wrap up loose ends or just chill. It's a good day to take a nap. Let yourself drift, rest, float, daydream, but don't overbook yourself or expect too much clarity. Ask yourself, what would it look like to do less today? So on Thursday, do less. Don't do nothing. Chill out, relax, run your errands, do things or tasks that you already had established for the week earlier in the week. That's why it's important to plan your week, because if you aren't in your highest expression with the Empress energy throughout the week, you might get flooded with bullshit. So if you have your week planned out ahead and then the bullshit comes to you, your filter is working a lot better. So on Thursday, if your filter isn't working better, make sure you are grounding yourself. It's a good day to work on your filter on Thursday. Friday, June the 20th, summer solstice energy, Cancer season. Happy birthday to all of my fellow Cancers. I am also a Cancer. And this is welcoming in a new season. I'm so excited. The vibes shift from mental to emotional. Mars sextile Jupiter, and that's building something behind the scenes. So by the evening, motivation may return, and it's a great night to start anchoring in your intentions, especially with Jupiter forming that whole sign conjunction. Cancer energy is really all about getting clear within your emotions and nurturing them. So it's emotional renewal at a slower pace, and it's nourishment over hustle. So with this Jupiter in Cancer transit for the next year, this is getting out of survival mode and also getting out of that hustle culture mindset. So some things that you can do on Friday: reconnect with your body, your roots, and your people. Don't ignore what you are feeling or what your feelings are trying to say. Ask yourself, what does home feel like to me right now? Now let's move over to Saturday, June the 21st. Mercury is forming a trine to the North Node. So these are fated messages that are coming in at divine time. Mercury in Cancer trining the North Node in Pisces can bring spiritual downloads, realizations, or clear signs that you're being led, especially through conversations or dreams. So expect some synchronicities, some emotional honesty, and creative sparks. Some things that you can do is journal, speak your truth, express affection. You air signs don't like to express affection. Express affection. You're a freaking human. Please do. And don't let fears of the past block your potential future. Ask yourself, am I willing to say yes to divine timing? So let's move over to Sunday, June the 22nd. Mars is sextile Jupiter. So Mars in Virgo is sextile Jupiter in Cancer, and the Sun in Cancer forms a square to Saturn in Aries. This is big energy on Sunday. Mars sextile Jupiter wants you to get things done, but the Sun squaring Saturn might throw a reality check your way. So it's a good day for grounded action, not ego-driven performance. Initiate with integrity. Be humble. Let your work speak for itself. Start something aligned with your long-term goals, and don't fight resistance. Listen to what it's teaching you. Find the wisdom in that Saturnian square. Saturn is trying to get you more disciplined in some way, disciplined within your purpose. It's forming a square to the sun. This is involving our purpose. So listen to what that Saturn tension is teaching you. Find the wisdom in it. And some things that you can ask yourself: what kind of legacy am I building? So that close out this week's astrology. This week is very quiet, but it's cleansing, and it's prepping us for a big Cancer season. But before it does that, it's asking, can we nourish the future? We got to release what's calcified around the heart before we allow our blessings to come in. The Four of Pentacles says, let go of the grip. And the star reminds us that healing is already on its way. Just breathe, clean your space. Don't gaslight your emotions. And remember, there's nothing wrong with starting over slowly. If this episode resonated with you, leave a review, send it to a friend, or pull a card with this week's astrology in mind. And I'm also offering an astrology course. I was going to close out the course, but I'm still allowing people to come in. So if you are interested in learning astrology, learning how you can ground yourself in your purpose and get out of burnout, make sure you click the link in the show notes of wherever you are listening to this podcast and sign up. I will be offering a subscription service geared towards trading. I did not mention any trading this week in this episode, but I do plan on talking a little bit more about the stock market and crypto and how you can get aligned with the moon and trading so you can get out of burnout. And you can work your 9 to 5 if you want to. Like that 9 to 5 work life is just comes second to your generational wealth with trading. So that's my goal this year, honestly. And with this Jupiter and Cancer transit, is to help people find their purpose or get clear about their purpose. It's not finding it, but getting clear about their purpose and also creating generational wealth. So I'll see y'all in next week's episode, where we will be talking about the new moon in Cancer. Until next time, you guys, I hope you have a great week. And please get clear about your Empress filter. Again, this episode was for my ladies, not my man. No, or my men's. I can't speak for men on the spiritual realm. I can only speak for women. And if you took, what I said and it rubbed you the wrong way, ask yourself why. Because I'm not trying to, be malicious. I'm just being truthful. I'm just being honest as someone who was initiated into this high priestess path. I did not want this, okay? I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted, like, I've done so much. I've literally went to school I don't know how many times, but I was initiated into this path. And I'm trying to clear it out because there's a lot of clutter and confusion out there. So I hope you guys do not take what I said to heart as far as like being mean spirited or malicious. I'm not. I'm really, really bringing clarity to this world. I'm really, really bringing truth from what I've learned from the spiritual authority that I've gathered. So I pray that you guys get your filters cleaned this week so that you can live the life that you deserve and that you want. Until next time, you guys, peace.